The first quarter of the Disc Golf Pro Tour is about over. We have seen tournaments like the Las Vegas Challenge, Waco, and the first major event of the year, Champions Cup. It's been a really exciting season so far, and the pros are looking good as always. Jonesboro just concluded, and if you watched any of that, then you'd be excited about disc golf. So, I thought I would bring you guys my best players from this season so far. These standings have nothing to do with last year at all, just what has happened this year. In my mind, there has been a clear top 8 guys that are playing above the rest. Make sure to tell me your list of players in the comments down below. I'm interested to see what you guys think. I'm going to count down the top 8 players for you guys. Then I'm going to show you guys who I think is having a good season but didn't make the list. Let's go. Kevin Jones has had a really solid year so far. We saw him at Vegas finishing in 4th, and most recently we saw Kevin at Jonesboro playing like crazy. He came up short at Jonesboro, but he didn't come up short on my list. Kevin has placed in the top 25 at every event this year so far that he has attended. He currently stands at 7th in the point standings. I have Kevin at 8th on my list because I think he's just the epitome of consistency this year. If he had won Jonesboro, he would be top 5 on the list. It's just that he does not have a win yet. I expect to see him continue his streak of playing good, which in turn will put him in positions to win. I don't want to play everything off of the points either. I strongly believe in contention. He has had some really good chances to win. That's why he's on this list. Joel Freeman is another player who does not have a win, but he is playing just so darn good. Out of the 6 events he has played, he has a 3rd, 4th, 6th, and 8th place finish. That's crazy. I mean, he has come so close to wins. He's doing really good on the point standings. He's just playing super solid. I tried to make this list without him and it just didn't make sense in my mind. He has to be on it. He hasn't quite been in the running going into the final day, but he always seems to make up the ground on the final day to finish at the top. If Freeman has a lead going into the final day anytime soon, my money is on him. He plays really good on Sundays. Drew Gibson. Now we haven't seen much of Drew lately, but hear me out. I'm not going to punish the guy for only playing 3 of the 8 tournaments we have seen so far, especially when he wins the first event of the year in stunning fashion. Las Vegas was a heater to begin the year with. Gibson battling out with the young gun Gannon Buhr. Gibson ended up winning in a playoff, earning his spot on my list. First event of the year is a big win in my opinion, and now that we expect to see Gibson in the next part of the season, I had to put him on my list. There's only been 4 elite events of the year. He has a win, he has to be on the list. He also has a 10th place finish at a major event. That's pretty solid. Speaking of the young gun, Gannon Buhr is next on my list. Yes, Gibson beat him straight up, but overall, I think he is having a better season than Gibson. We constantly see Gannon in the hunt. Gannon got 5th at Champions Cup, 5th at Jonesboro, 7th at Texas States, and then you already know about it, he lost in a playoff at Vegas. Those are some really solid numbers. If Gannon grabs a win anytime soon, he's a top 3 player. He had a great season last year. He's having a good season so far. I think that this kid is here to stay. He's got power, he's got the putter, and he seems to have what it takes to win. He was a foot away at Vegas from clutching the win over Drew. Paul McBeth, the GOAT. Can't make a list of the best players and not have Paul on it. Just kidding, Paul is having a good season too so far. We missed out on seeing him at Vegas, but he came roaring onto the year with a win at Waco. Paul has played 5 tournaments. He does not have a finish outside the top 10. That's crazy. Paul could easily be in the top 3. He just seems to have slip-ups at really bad times. But then he comes on like crazy and shoots 16 under at the final day of the Champions Cup. I mean, he is playing really good disc golf right now, forcing a playoff finish just last weekend at Jonesboro. Paul's the start to the separation of these next few guys. I could have done a top 4 players list of the year. These next few guys, Paul included, are playing the best disc golf hands down. Calvin Heimburg takes the 3rd spot. He's 2nd in the points standings, but in my opinion, I think Calvin's at 3rd. The bummer with Calvin, it seems over and over again, he puts himself in a position to win, then he just slips on the final day. Las Vegas, he got 3rd. Texas States, he got 2nd. Champions Cup, he also got 3rd. We needed to see a win out of Calvin for him to move into a top spot here, and we got it. Jonesboro was his tournament. He let it slip for a moment on the front 9 of the final day, but then he came roaring back on the back 9. Forces a playoff with McBeth. McBeth slips up on the first playoff hole, and Calvin seizes the moment. This was a big deal for Calvin in my opinion. He didn't slip up, he battled through, and when the time came, he hit the shots. Good to see him finally win an event this year. Ricky Wysocki takes the second spot so far into the season. The major outlier here for Ricky is his change of plastic. No longer with Innova, Ricky is now throwing for dynamic discs. It took him a couple of tournaments to get warmed up. He got 7th at Las Vegas and 12th at Waco. But since Waco, he has been on a tear. Tied for 2nd at Belton, wins Texas States, and then comes up just short getting 2nd at the Champions Cup. Ricky is currently in 3rd on the tour points, but I have him as 2nd on my list. He is playing really good with the new plastic, and I expect a couple more wins out of Ricky for the rest of the season. Ricky is playing good, but from what I have seen so far, his putting is giving him a little bit of trouble. If he gets it up to what it was like last year, he's going to be a problem for the rest of the field. Speaking of a problem, Chris Dickerson has been a problem this year. Number 1 on my list, Dickerson has won 3 of the first 8 events. 2 Silver Series, which don't add up to much, but what does is a major win. Champions Cup was a close battle between him and Ricky, but Dickerson pulled it off in the end. Oh, and yeah, Dickerson changed plastic too. Now throwing for Discraft, Dickerson took a minute to adjust. He was winning Vegas after day 1, but he slipped up, finishing in 12th. He was in the hunt at Waco as well. Chris is having an MVP season so far. He's always in the hunt, and he has pulled off 3 wins already. If he keeps this pace going, he's going to be a problem for the rest of the year. We all knew Dickerson was a top dog, taking over the second half of the season where he usually played more tournaments, but since he has played all these events early in the season, I think people are starting to realize how good he actually is. Number 1 player so far, Chris Dickerson. I wanted to make this list a top 10, I just didn't quite make it. I thought the top 8 have really proven themselves above the rest, but I wanted to make an honorable mention. 3 players that I think are all having really good seasons, and if they grab just 1 win, they're in the conversation. Luke Humphreys we saw quite a bit from the beginning of the season, a 4th place finish at Las Vegas and a 2nd place finish at Waco. Luke is having a good season and sitting at 12th in the points standings. James Conrad is another player who has been really consistent. He's actually at 8th in the points with a couple top 10s and top 20s. He's playing good, just haven't seen enough of him to make it on the list. Matty O, one of the most entertaining guys in the sport. He had a good run at Champions, finishing 5th, and also a 6th place finish at Jonesboro. He just hasn't played enough of the early tournaments to make it on the list. Still having a good season. Alright, as always, thanks for watching the video, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe, it would mean a lot. Make sure to comment down below any changes to my list you would have liked to see, such as players you thought should be in front of other players, and players I just completely didn't mention. Thanks for watching the video, and we will see you guys next time.